Good morning everybody and welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 9th of December 2023. Rishi flails as his party rails at immigration plans that have moved like a snail, but the PM is sure he will prevail. The US still supports Israel as Khan Younis is assailed. Protestors try to no avail to derail Boris as he details how his government failed. A great British poet is hailed. Between the devil and the deep blue sea, that's where Rishi Sunak now seems to be, the deep blue sea of conservative mainstream against the anti-immigration hard-right extreme. And the deportation bill has devil in its detail, which will determine whether it passes or fails. The Rwanda plan is tearing Tories apart, as they're yet to see a plane of migrants depart. Whisper it, but there is now considerable doubt that a flight to Rwanda will ever come about. The Supreme Court's verdict last month, clear and loud, said that sending migrants to Rwanda would not be allowed, but Rishi was not going to let a bunch of legal minds have his make-or-break government policy undermined. So James cleverly was sent to Kigali one more time. The Home Secretary was to get a new treaty undersigned. This, along with a new government bill drafted, should ensure the Supreme Court judges would be shafted. All their concerns about Rwanda's suitability now taken care of by this new bill and treaty. But for Sunak, more problems have arisen from within, with the patience of the Tory party wearing thin. The whole business of the seeking of asylum is really beginning to frustrate and rile them. The right say the bill doesn't go far enough. The left is concerned that it is much too tough. Of course, in terms of net migration overall, the amount that's illegal is very, very small. So on Monday, cleverly in the Commons, had explained how he planned to have legal migration contained. Because recently the number has gone through the roof, which this government finds shameful, and that's the truth. But once again, many people were unimpressed with the proposals to have this problem addressed. If Rishi thought he'd got migrations sort of sorted, by Wednesday he had realised more trouble had been courted. Certainly the immigration minister had had his fill. Robert Jenrick quit the cabinet over the Rwanda bill. For the PM, a very unwelcome surprise. Jenrick was supposed to be one of his allies. This week in the Gaza Strip, it was déjà vu, with events that the world wishes just weren't true. The truth is the truce had been hard to find, but somehow they'd found a piece of a kind, while giving each other a piece of their mind. But it was short-lived, whatever deal was signed, and soon it was clear both sides weren't aligned. And for Israel, negotiations had been undermined. Once hostages were no longer being released, Israel felt the ceasefire had to be ceased. For 7 days the fighting had been put on hold. Now Israel was going after the Hamas stronghold. Khan Younis in the south of Gaza, so we're told, is where Hamas military operations are controlled. And this time the onslaught was even bigger, the killing carried out with increasing vigour. Hamas started this war, so the West have acquiesced, but as civilian deaths rise, so does the West's unrest. Israel's tactics can no more be beyond reproach with the collateral damage from their scattergun approach. Antonio Guterres is getting cold feet for sure, so the Security Council met to discuss the war. The UN may think it's the ultimate ref, but that cuts little ice with the IDF. On Friday they were pleased when the US opposed UN demands for another ceasefire to be imposed. At the COVID inquiry, we were all keen to learn what insight could be given by the hearing's star turn. Boris Johnson on Thursday faced the music. He had a platform and he was going to use it, starting with a big set-piece apology. Was it sincere or just cunning psychology? Whatever, from the gallery it elicited shouting from those who didn't want this to be all about him. But these bereaved relatives only managed to achieve a rebuke from Baroness Hallett, who told them to leave. For 2 days Boris showed contrition and an admission that his government made some pretty wrong decisions. Some may have found his words more trite than contrite, coached by lawyers to get the tone and texture right. Only the mention of Partygate cracked the facade, and up came the guard as he retaliated hard, again hoisting himself on his own petard. His denials, even with Boris fans, must have jarred. For some time now we've known our planet's not well, blowing hot and cold with a temperature like hell. It could win its own version of the Mercury Award, on track this year to break its own sizzling record. Not surprising then that at COP28 this week, 198 countries came with big pledges to seek and a final joint resolution that's not too weak, but as the week ended, prospects looked fairly bleak. Thursday for many was a sad and shocking day, hearing that Benjamin Zachariah had passed away. A brain tumour had grown quickly and his life was erased. From diagnosis to death it took less than 60 days. A 65-year-old life claimed and now acclaimed. When Ben left school at 13, barely able to write his name, who'd have thought that his pen would have brought him such fame? But poor schooling couldn't dampen the burning flame. He wrote poems for message, poems for pleasure, a gentle brummie who brought people together, who became an unexpected national treasure.